Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something.
Hi there, and welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. And if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. So this is going to be a short, quick and dirty video. I'm not using all the fancy wireless mics and everything this time. I know I'm wearing mine because I was originally going to do something else, but this came in and I was going to knock it out real quick. One of my buddies has a four-wheeler he picked up, and unbeknownst to him, the drain plug threads were stripped out. And what we're going to do is we're going to fix it for him. And it was an M12 by 1.5, and thankfully there's enough meat around there. Yeah, we could probably put a helicoil in there, yada yada yada. You're going to be, $100. By the time you're done with labor and everything, you're going to be $150 in it. There's enough meat around that thing where we can go up to an M14 by 1.5 drain plug with the tap that I already have and about 15 minutes worth of labor. So that's what we're going to do. And me and my buddy, we were having a little laugh over how I was going to go about doing it, because he's like, "Oh man, this thing's such a pain. It's got this plate under there and it's so hard to get at," and yada yada yada, which he is correct. But of course, unbeknownst to him, I have a lift, and this guy, if you saw him, and God, I wish he was here, because and you will see him, hopefully, if everything goes right, in a future video. And I'm not going to say any more about it because I'll give it away. But this dude is country as cornbread. I love him to death. But anyhow, me, okay, I was born and raised in New Jersey. Yes, I have some, half-breed country roots because my mother was born and raised in the South. But, we had a funny moment, because I told him, I said, "I'm gonna string that four-wheeler up and gut it like a deer." So let me show you. So what I've done is I've essentially hung it up from the lift, and that gives me access right here to where I need to be. Now, I'll go ahead and zoom in on this a little better so you can see what I'm going to do. But, the picture I sent him via text was worth 1,000 words, trust me. So, anyway, let's get started, and I'll show you how I'm going to fix this. So what we've got here is an M12 by 1.5 drain plug, and these threads are pretty well buggered, and I'm guessing that's probably why he got the four-wheeler so cheap. Plus the timing chain tensioner was bad on it, and it had jumped time, so he was able to fix that, and the bike runs great. It's a great running bike, and this is really the last major issue we need to resolve. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 14 millimeter by 1.5 tap and tap that hole out to an M14 by 1.5, and what we're going to do is we're going to coat this tap with some red and tacky, and that'll catch all the shavings, so we don't run anything down in here. You want to fill all the flutes. You want to put grease in the flutes so they'll catch all the chips. Now what I've done is I've not drained the oil out of this. So by me hanging this thing up like a dead deer, okay, all the oil is still down here in the bottom of the crankcase. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm done tapping these holes out, okay, and I put my new plug in here. When I set this thing down, I'm going to drain all the oil out, so just in case I missed anything, it'll wash any chips out that the grease didn't get, and we'll fill it up with fresh oil and off we go. And then we go in here, and since it's still a 1.5 thread pitch, your 12 millimeter your 12 millimeter threads are going to guide you right in and you're going to be good to go. And you just take it nice and slow and easy, and don't try to be too ham-fisted with anything. And if it feels like it doesn't want to go, you just back out of it and go back in again. And just take it nice and slow and easy, and that'll get your hole where it needs to be. And then you start cutting your threads like you need to. And your existing M12 hole is big enough to where you can start cutting your M14 threads. Just want to be gentle and be very patient. Patience is key here. And as you make a little bit of progress, you back out and then come back in some more. And then you take your tap out if you need to, and check your tap for chips and clean the chips off, and then re-grease your tap. And you see you're still going to have some chips in there, and that's okay, because we're going to clean those all out, and then we're going to wash them out with some fresh oil. And if we have to change oil once or twice, that's okay too. Now as you can see, I've tapped these new threads in here, and I've pretty much cleaned the threads out. But if you're concerned, you can go in here with a hook-shaped pick and go around in there with some red and tacky on the end of it, and go in there and see. You can see I got some more chips there. And the more you get out, the less you have to worry about washing out with the oil later, see? And see that hook-shaped pick will go around the inside of that hole in the crankcase there. And just keep doing that until you make sure the pick comes out nice and clean of all those chips. And then of course we won't start the motor until we run a couple of cycles of oil through it. And I mean, it only holds what, a quart or two, and you know, we'll pour some oil in there and cycle it through and make sure we wash any of those aluminum chips out of there, if there should be any left, and make sure that we get everything out of there, and then that should be it. And we'll run our new M14 by 1.5 drain plug in there and snug it up. Those two plugs are just one size apart from each other, so not a huge difference there. The socket size is the same, and we'll screw it in there, and then we'll just gently snug it for now. And then we're going to set the bike back down and then level it out, and then we'll take the plug out and let the existing oil wash out, drain out, and that'll wash out any remaining chips. We'll pour another quart of oil through it and let it wash through, and that'll be like a little extra good measure to get any last remaining chips that are in there, and that ought to do us. Getting this plug out of here without getting your hand soaked in oil is a bit of a trick with this protection plate around it, but that's okay. We've taken the chintzy plastic washer that this came with, and we put a copper washer on here. That's just a matter of personal preference. I mean, I think it's a plastic coated aluminum washer, but that's just a matter of personal preference. I like the copper. Now that our sacrificial quart of oil has washed through the crankcase, we'll put our plug back in for the final time. And it threads in, of course, nice and easy now that we've got nice new M14 by 1.5 threads in lieu of the old M12 by 1.5s. This time, those threads will draw up nice and snug, and you don't have to, tighten the dog crap out of these plugs. You just snug it up real good and give it one little oomph, and that's it. And then we'll put our oil back in here and bring it back up to our proper level on the dipstick. That'll do it. That brings her right up to the full mark there. right, our work here is done. I mean, there's a billion other things we could do to this thing, but right now he's got some things he wants to do on his own to it. You know, and he's proud. He wants to do as much as he can himself to it, and that's fine. Just, you know, getting into those threads in that crankcase, you know, was you know, he didn't want to get into that, so he asked for my help on that. Of course, I was happy to help. So there's some other issues, you know. He's got to put a voltage regulator on it so it'll charge the battery, you know, and some stuff like that. But you know, for what it is, it's a great little four-wheeler, and it'll serve him well. So anyhow, thank you for watching, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. And if you ever have any questions about any stuff like this, or, you know, feel free to reach out to me. You can always reach me at MacGyversWorkshop@gmail.com, or, you know, check out my website, www.MacGyversWorkshop.com, and feel free to comment. I try and check comments as much as I can. Sometimes it takes me a bit to get back to you, but eventually I will. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.